Hi, I'm Kitty.
And I'm Jennifer.
And we're the O'Neill sisters.
When Plaid asked us if we'd like to shoot a video showing how to make a picture pendant using Mod Podge, we said absolutely.
We love using Mod Podge to make jewelry. And in this project, we're going to show you how to cut out a photo to put it into the pendant blank and how to laminate it using Mod Podge.
Then we'll show you how to apply Mod Podge dimensional magic over the top to create a glassy surface.
Finally, we'll put it together with some charms to make a boho picture pendant necklace.
We'll show you everything step by step. This is super fun. Let's get started.
To make this project, you'll need a pendant blank, and we chose an oval pendant blank in a very pretty antique copper finish.
I love that.
Me too. And then you'll need a photo to put into your pendant. We found this vintage picture.
We think it looks like us as old-timey ballerinas.
It does. It's hilarious. We reduced it on the computer so that it would fit inside the pendant blank, and we had it printed on a laser printer.
The next thing you need is Mod Podge. This is classic Mod Podge Gloss. Then you need another kind of Mod Podge called Dimensional Magic.
It is magic.
And we're going to show you all kinds of tips and tricks on how to use Dimensional Magic in this project.
The only other thing you need is a paintbrush to apply the Mod Podge, scissors to cut out your picture, and a needle, we'll show you what that's for, and double stick tape. To get started, you'll want to cut out your photo so it fits inside your pendant blank. This is the picture that we had printed on the laser printer. And we're just going to use our little scissors here to cut it out in the shape of the oval.
And we had this printed on regular laser paper, just 24-pound paper. You don't really want to use cardstock because it's too thick for this kind of project. So just regular laser paper will work fine.
So there's our little picture. It looks fantastic. And you'll want to check it, make sure it fits inside your oval. And then we're ready to laminate it using the Mod Podge.
We like to use Mod Podge to laminate things like this. It'll keep the dimensional magic from seeping in.
Yeah. And you want to put it on both the front and the back. And then it's really important that this dry completely before you put the dimensional magic on it. So we did, through the magic of television, we have one that we already cut out and laminated with the Mod Podge, and it's completely dry.
Fantastic.
And now we're ready to put that laminated picture into the oval pendant blank. And to do that, that's what we're using the double stick tape for. So I'm just putting double stick tape on the back like that.
Fantastic.
And then it's bigger than our picture. So I'm going to use the scissors again, and I'm just going to trim away the little tape edges. So I'm just cutting around that.
We like to use these tiny scissors for little detail work like this.
These are our favorite little crafting scissors.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
And so now I'm just going to line up my picture.
Great.
And then press it in.
You just kind of use your finger to kind of burnish it in there.
Press it down a little bit. And our pendant blank has a little lip around it, but you can actually do this kind of project even on a pendant blank that doesn't have an edge because the dimensional magic will dome up automatically. It'll just find its edges on its own.
It's got magic surface tension.
It's the surface tension.
We're taking advantage of that to create a nice dome.
So this is ready now for the dimensional magic.
So with the dimensional magic, we've got a couple tips for you. First of all, don't shake it. It's tempting to want to shake it, but you'll introduce bubbles.
You don't want bubbles.
You don't want bubbles. Another tip I'll tell you before I get started is when I'm applying this, I'm going to use even pressure to squeeze the bottle.
Yeah.
Rather than letting any air suck back into it, because that also could create bubbles.
Yes.
So I've got a little bit of bubble already, so I'm going to go over to the side of my scrap paper here and start squeezing some out. Then I'm going to go over to my pendant blank and just start applying it. I'm going to go right to the edges.
And more will fit on there than you would imagine because it has that doming quality. It has a real good surface tension, and so it'll take a lot of this dimensional magic. You just want to fill it all in. So you have fantastic. And you didn't get any bubbles.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's really good.
That's the first time I've done it without getting any bubbles.
If you have a bubble, we'll see, maybe one will appear.
There's a tiny one right there, maybe.
Do you see one?
Barely.
I'm going to put my glasses on, see if I can see it.
Barely.
Oh, I see a teeny tiny one. Yeah, right here. Good, because we want to show this. If you have a bubble, you can use the needle to pop the bubble. And if you're having trouble popping the bubble, I think I popped it.
Sometimes if it's a big bubble, it usually pops pretty easily, but you got to do it right away because it'll start to set up.
To set up. You can also make a little trough or trowel out of a piece of paper like this, and you can kind of force the bubble up into this little trowel. I'm basically just going to pick that bubble up and out.
Looks like she's fishing it out.
I'm fishing it out of there.
And now we're just going to put this on a level surface and let it dry. We like to let it dry overnight.
I think it's better to let it dry overnight. You don't want it to still be wet and you're testing it with your finger, and then you're going to put a fingerprint on it if it's not dry. So we test it with the needle. We tap it on the side to see if it feels solid. But if you leave it overnight, it for sure will set up.
And when this dries, we'll have our picture pendant.
It's that easy. We let our picture pendant dry overnight, and it turned out great. It really looks good.
It's beautiful. I love the way it's got this sort of glossy dome over the top. It feels like glass.
It's very nice. And now we want to turn it into a necklace. And you could put it on a ribbon or on a piece of leather cord.
That'd be nice.
But we decided we're going to put it on a piece of chain, and kind of a long piece of chain. So to do that, we have a 27-inch piece of chain. That's going to be about the same length as the necklace I'm wearing.
And then we've got our pendant that we just made, and we've got a jump ring to attach the pendant to the chain. We've also got an S-hook clasp. It's about 24 millimeters. It doesn't really matter how big it is.
You could use any clasp.
You really could. Our S-hook clasp, we're going to attach to the chain using another jump ring. And then our third jump ring is going to be the other end of the clasp on the chain. And
then we have some bead dangles here. And we actually made these, and we're going to show you how we did that. So the first one we're going to make has a pearl and two little antique copper daisy spacers. And we're going to make it with a head pin. So to do that, we're going to slide on the beads the way we want them in our dangle. So I've got the little daisy spacer on first, and then the pearl. And then,
that pearl.
It's so pretty. And then we have our other antique copper daisy spacer. Slide that on. And that's going to be our little bead dangle. And to make a little loop in the top, we're going to use our round nose pliers and make a little loop, a wrapped loop. So to do that, I pinch the head pin right above the top bead, and I make a 90-degree bend. Then I reposition the pliers to the top of that bend. You see how I moved it there? And where I make the loop, this is going to be the loop, where I go on the pliers is how big the loop is going to be. So I'm going to wrap the wire over. If I do it down here, it'll be a tiny one, but we need it big enough for the chain to go through, so I'm going to do it at the fatter part of my pliers.
And you can always test that, make a little loop or do a couple practice runs with some jump.
Do some tests and see what size loops you get.
And you can mark it on your pliers too with a Sharpie.
That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
So I bent it all the way over, and it makes a partial loop. But I can't go all the way around because the bottom jaws are in the way. So I reposition and put the bottom jaw in the loop. And now I can pull that wire the rest of the way around so I have a complete loop. Now I hold that loop across so I have a good grip on the dangle. And then I just bend the wire around the neck 2 times. I like to do it 2 times.
That makes the loop secure. If you did a simple loop that had a little opening, it could come off.
And I'm just going to reach in there and trim that wire. I'm just holding that tail so it doesn't fly off. And there's our little bead dangle with a loop. And you can see we made one here with a copper bird and a little raspberry.
Like little bicone
crystal. And then we made another one with an acrylic flower.
They're super pretty. I love those colors with that copper.
That's cute.
And now we're ready to assemble our necklace. And to do that, we're going to start with our pendant. And we want to attach a jump ring to the top of our pendant so that we can slide it on the chain. So to do that, we're going to show you how to open a jump ring using our favorite technique, which is using 2 pliers. So what we're going to do is look for the split that's at the top of the jump ring. These are split jump rings. They're not soldered.
It has a little opening.
So there's a little opening. Kitty has a trick that if you hold it up to the light, you can see
that's how you can find that
there's a little cut in it if you can't see it right away.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold the pliers to one side of that split. Then I'm going to use my other pliers to grab the other side, and I'm going to rotate one set of pliers up toward the ceiling and one down toward the table. And what that'll do is keep that nice round shape of my jump ring.
That's great.
And then I'm going to keep holding the jump ring in my pliers because I just think they're easier to manage with pliers.
For sure.
And I'm going to attach my pendant
like
that. and then close my jump ring. And to close the jump ring, I'm just going to do exactly what I just did, but in reverse. I've got my pliers on one side and my pliers on the other side, and then I'll rotate to close that loop. And then I often will just take the chain nose pliers and sort of press across to make sure that I've got a nice secure close there. Yeah, so there we go.
That looks great.
Very pretty.
So now we have all our dangles and charms ready, and we can put them on the chain. And a little trick that I like to do to put something on the chain is hold the jump ring horizontal to the table and then drop the chain in through the loop. It goes in faster and smoother, less friction.
It kind of lets gravity do some work for you.
So we've got the pendant on our chain, and then we're going to put some of the dangles on one side and some on the other. So I think I'll put the flower on one side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold the loop on the flower and then drop the chain in. And then I'm going to grab the other end of the chain, and I think I'll put on the little pearl one we just made. Drop that in.
Nice.
Like that. And then our last little birdie. So cute. And do the same thing. I'm going to drop the chain in there.
Fantastic. And now that we've got all of our charms and our pendant on our necklace, we can attach the clasp.
Yes.
And we often attach clasps to chain using jump rings because we think that's super easy.
Yeah.
So we're going to do exactly what we just did to attach the pendant with the jump ring. We're going to open this one using 2 pairs of pliers. Again, we're grasping on both sides of that split. We're going to rotate one up and one down. And then I'm going to hold on to my jump ring like that. And then I'm going to, actually I think I'll attach the chain first.
Yeah, this will be one side of the clasp.
Yeah, so that S-hook clasp will feed through this jump ring.
Yeah.
So there we go. And I'm going to hold the jump ring on one side of that split with 1 pair of pliers, grab the other side, and then rotate.
Close it the same way, just a reverse.
Like that. And then I'm going to make sure it's nice and closed. So that'll be one side of our clasp. And then for the other side,
same thing.
Same thing. There we go.
Rotate.
And I'm going to grab
the clasp.
Which side should I do it on?
I think
the one with this loopy.
Yeah,
like
I think the loopy side goes towards the chain. Yeah.
There we go. So I'll put that on, and then I'm going to find the other end of my chain, get that last link.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kind of fish it on there. And then I'm going to close it the same way. It's a little harder because I've got more stuff on that jump ring. So I'm going to grasp it on one side and the other. Rotate to close.
Yep.
There we go.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to just make sure it's closed a little bit there.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And see how it looks. So see that hooks right in there, and it's nice and secure on the chain.
Looks great.
And then there is our beautiful necklace.
It's so fun. The dangles add a lot of movement and a little bit of color. I love how this turned out.
It turned out great.
We love how our picture pendant turned out. The dimensional magic really gives it a glass-like finish.
We hope you have fun making your own picture pendant necklace. Happy crafting!